The Season 6 finale of Game of Thrones has made a really big impact recently, and for many very good reasons. However, one element that probably isn't going to be talked about as much as the plot points themselves is the score, so I'm gonna do a bit of a breakdown of how the score affected the most explosive moment of the Season 6 finale. The season finale opened by breaking the established musical language of the show, giving us a piano. The established musical language of Game of Thrones generally consists of deep strings, heavy drums, with a bit of brass every now and then, but never in the score of the show before this moment have you ever heard the sound of a grand piano. This breaking of established language told the audience that something big was going to happen. It's very somber and invokes a feeling of dread as you wait to see what's going to happen in Cersei's trial. The music builds as the tension builds, which is to be expected, but it's not just an unbroken ramp up for 10 minutes. There's ebbs and flows. The music is relatively soft at the beginning, but as characters become more and more aware that they're in danger, the music reacts to their realization. For example, when Grand Maester Pycelle realizes that Qyburn has intentionally misled him for some unknown reason, the lone voice of a young boy singing is added to the score. Once we see one of Qyburn's birds brandishing a knife and finally getting confirmation that Cersei is basically staging a coup, the boy's voice comes to the forefront and the strings come in louder, quickening the pace and enhancing the feeling of dread. It almost feels like it's a countdown. One little touch I love here is the wonderful use of dissonance with the singer's part. In his melody, he will every once in a while sing against the backing music for a moment, creating a very palpable feeling of unease and dread. It's a sound that makes you extremely uncomfortable. Once Pycelle is being murdered, you can hear the faint sounds of a brand new instrument on top of the strings and sing. A pipe organ. And with the first of many deaths in the sequence kicking off, it makes you really feel like death is coming for more than just Grand Maester Pycelle. From here on out, the pipe organ kicks in whenever a character becomes aware that they're in mortal danger. We get it here with Pycelle, and then it comes back when Lancel is stabbed, and eventually kicks in at the Sept of Baelor when Margaery has made everyone aware that they are in danger. As Lancel crawls on the ground toward the wildfire, the organ has now come to the forefront of the arrangement. It's now playing a distorted version of the main theme of Game of Thrones, and as it hits that, it falls into the background to iterate on that for a bit as the fast-paced strings move to the forefront now, emphasizing that the characters in the set are running out of time. Something is coming. When Margaery yells at everyone that they must leave, the strings have picked up the pace even more as she and the others attempt to escape the set, with the Faith Militant blocking them from doing so. They're trapped, and the High Sparrow is finally coming to his own realization that she's right. Lancel is trying and failing to stop the candles from lighting the wildfire, the organs return, and the music picks up the pace as the danger has reached its highest point, and the characters all come to the realization that they're all going to die at once, and here's where I'd like to bring out the fact that the music is not the only tool used here, but there's also a very precise use of silence in order to make you feel unease, and it gives you a break from the tense music in order to maintain its impact it will have when it comes back in later. We get this during the entirety of Loras' trial. Everything in this scene is diegetic. We get it once again just before Lancel gets stabbed, which heralds a jarring and strong return of the organs to signify his mortal peril. And just before the climax, the music just cuts out completely. The resulting explosion of wildfire is played to silence to allow the audience to just feel the naked horror, shock, and disgust that they're almost universally feeling right now. And it puts you in the shoes of Tommen just before There are other great music moments throughout this episode, but this sequence in particular did a wonderful job of using audio and visuals in tandem in order to most effectively convey what they wanted the audience to feel. It works spectacularly. The precise and intentional uses of both music and silence throughout the first 20 minutes of the episode complemented one another. It's worth a look yourself if you want to be an editor, composer, or director. All three jobs were fundamental for delivering this sequence so effectively, and they all deserve a great amount of praise for pulling it off.